Welcome, and thank you very much for waiting. Simultaneous interpretation will be available through receivers. Please use Channel 1 for Japanese. Now, let's move on to the first session on the theme of Open Innovation from Japan, the power to shape the future in a changing world. This session will be conducted in 3 parts. The first and second parts will be in a presentation format, and the speakers are Mr. Hironori Kamezawa, Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group President and Group CEO. Mr. Mamoru Kamemoto, MUFG Head of Business Co-Creation Division. The third part will be a panel discussion. The panelists are Mr. Kamezawa, Mr. Ladi Delano, MUFG co-founder and co-CEO. The session will be moderated by Mr. Nobutake Suzuki, MUFG Innovation Partners President and CEO. To begin, Mr. Kamezawa will deliver a presentation on social transformation driven by the promotion of open innovation in Japan. Mr. Kamezawa, the floor is yours.
May I start? Hello everyone. I'm Hironori Kamezawa, CEO of MUFG. My deep gratitude for this opportunity to share ideas with so many thought leaders in vital industry today. Let me start with a question. What comes to mind when you hear the words large Japanese corporations? Conservative, slow, inward-focused? Just some of many things that might come to mind, and there is some truth to those perceptions. But in reality, large Japanese corporations are undergoing a significant transformation, and Japan today is on a path towards growth as it navigates the demands of the fiercely evolving world. Large Japanese corporations are fostering growth through collaboration with startups, with cutting-edge technologies and bold business models. So I'd like to talk about what is happening on the ground now, including some background and specific examples. In the macroeconomic environment, we have seen significant changes in politics, economies, and technologies. And in many nations, seeds of new technological innovation are being linked to industrial policies. These nations are competing to address global challenges while trying to capture future growth opportunities at the same time. Their ability to respond to sudden changes will no doubt greatly influence their future and the prosperity of their people. As I mentioned, Japan is entering an era of growth. Wage growth has been high the past 3 years, with substantial positive interest rates in the financial sector for the first time in a very long time. The Japanese market also has considerable strength, including Japan's economic and social stability. This is considered one of its greatest strengths, especially given the recent volatility in the interest rates in the US and Europe, which creates a challenging environment for startups to grow. And as we all know, stability provides a favorable environment for nurturing new growth opportunities. Another Japanese strength is technological accumulation and diverse ideas generated from its highly complex industrial structure. Japan has technological advantage in a number of fields, including mobility, materials, quantum computing, and environmental technologies. Within this context, Japan's business environment is changing significantly on its path to new growth. To support the aim of increasing the number and size of startups by a factor of 10 in 5 years, the government has implemented measures in finance, talent supply, and regulatory reforms, and is promoting startups through public-private partnership. According to Startup Genome, a company that supports startups worldwide, Tokyo has significantly risen in the global startup ecosystem ranking for 2024, entering the world's top 10 for the first time. And Japanese startups, supported by its one-year program in partnership with Tokyo Metropolitan Government, produced unique ideas unparalleled globally. Promoting startups and innovation not only enhances the potential growth of the Japanese economy by creating new business, but also induces labor movement to high potential fields. This brings dynamism to the labor market, significant because we are at the critical moment, and depending on our approach, we can build the wave of revitalization, spreading across Japan's economy and society. So, how can private companies and financial institutions promote innovation and create new industries to stimulate economic revitalization? In my view, there are three key forms of promoting open innovation. First, collaboration, where large corporations partner with startups to create new value. Second, co-creation, where multiple large corporations and startups work together to create new industry and new value chains. And third, contribution, where we support startups to accelerate growth. Let me explore these three forms of open innovation, which I call the 3 C's, with specific examples to provide a clearer understanding. The first form, collaboration, refers to the one-on-one relationship between large corporations and startups. By combining new technologies and cutting-edge solutions of startups with a customer base and abundant resources of large corporations, we can drive innovation. This is a most straightforward and common form of promoting open innovation, and many Japanese companies have established corporate venture capital resources to globally search for startups that match their needs and to explore opportunities for collaboration. For example, last year, MUFG invested in Sakana AI, an AI R&D company, to seek a partner in the rapidly emerging Gen AI, generative AI area. Sakana AI has top-tier AI talent on the global level, with several unique and innovative research results published in Nature and other leading journals. The company is just 2 years old, but by combining its advanced capabilities with MUFG's vast data resources, opens possibilities for innovative AI applications that were previously unimaginable. The second form is co-creation, where large corporations and startups transcend boundaries to form ecosystems to solve complex social issues through business collaboration. This includes initiatives like transitioning industry and business structures toward decarbonization, or combining diverse players' functions in mobility, AI, and robotics to address complex challenges. One of MUFG's challenging endeavors is creating a value chain in the space industry. For instance, Space1 is a company that launches small rockets at Spaceport Key, which is Japan's first private rocket launch site, located in Wakayama Prefecture. Space1 aims to diversify access to outer space and create a private space industry. MUFG not only invests in Space1, but also hosts business matchings with local companies to address issues such as domesticating rocket manufacturing, quality improvement, and cost reduction. We also publish reports on the economic spillover effects of the rocket launch site, clarifying the social value of space business, working to elevate regional industries, and helping build ecosystems involving our stakeholders. The third form is contribution, where large corporations support growth of startups from various angles, while financial institution support for startups brings to mind equity and debt financing. There are other ways to accelerate startup growth, like business matching, IPO, and M&A support. At MUFG example is Timee, which was listed on Tokyo Stock Exchange Growth Market in July last year. MUFG began its relationship with Timee by providing debt financing, followed by supporting large-scale fundraising, and ultimately assisting with the IPO with the all MUFG group, including our securities and trust bank. However, the IPO is not the final goal for the company or the financial institutions supporting it. We continue to support Timee's growth, among other initiatives, through local employment creation programs and new account campaigns. I hope this gives you a clearer image of MUFG's three-form view of promoting open innovation. Now let's dive deeper into each of these forms, starting with the third C, contribution. Since the Japanese government announced its 5-year plan for startup development in 2022, attention on supporting startups has been growing. Startup growth is key to developing visionary industries and solutions to social issues, a mission we take seriously as a financial institution. And as a proof of MUFG commitment, we have formulated the new brand message, which I would like to unveil here today with a short video.
世界が驚くイノベーションは夢で終わらせないという意志から生まれる。信じ抜く、やり抜く、支え抜く、最高のチームで挑めばその夢はきっと形になるから。次はあなたと共に。さあ、世界を驚かせに行こう。
さあ、世界を驚かせに行こう。This is our tagline, meaning let's amaze the world by innovation. This is a message MUFG wishes to deliver to all of you. Generating this level of amazement cannot be achieved by MUFG alone. It requires the cooperation of all stakeholders touching and touched by startups. I believe this message perfectly fits the philosophy of Sushi Tech Tokyo. Let's amaze the world together from the epicenter here. Speaking of endeavors that cannot be achieved by MUFG alone, the second C, co-creation, is a great example. To explain this further, let me introduce Kamemoto-san, head of MUFG Business Co-Creation Division, who is leading our initiatives and will share some real-world examples. Thank you very much for listening.
亀澤様、ありがとうございました。どうぞご講談ください。Let's give a round of applause to Mr. Kamezawa. Next, Mr. Kamemoto will deliver a presentation on a new approach to addressing social challenges through the entire ecosystem. Mr. Kamemoto, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kamemoto from Business Co-Creation Division. I am truly honored to this opportunity. We are dedicated to creating new businesses in partnership with our client companies. As Kamezawa-san mentioned, we firmly believe that the promoting open innovation is pivotal in addressing various societal issues and accelerating Japanese economy. Advancing open innovation involves fostering a society where diverse stakeholders can collaboratively generate new products and services. I would like to explore the role that financial institutions can and should play. Let me share my insight on the potential of Japanese open innovation ecosystem with some illustrative examples. Historically, many Japanese companies have grown by developing critical technologies internally. This approach has facilitated the accumulation of technological expertise, the establishment of robust supply chain, and the cultivation of skilled human resources. Consequently, these companies have built a solid business foundation and a long-term management perspective, enabling them to maintain high competitiveness, both domestically and internationally, thereby driving Japan's economic growth. However, we are currently facing a significant paradigm shift. Social problems, such as climate change, energy security, and the aging population are on a global scale and are interconnected across all industries. These complexities make it increasingly difficult for individual companies to address them independently. To tackle these issues, I believe it is very important for diverse players with distinct strengths collaborate more and more. And the collaboration should not be done just between large corporate and a startup. It should be open to a wider range of players, such as universities and government agencies. Japanese companies have a solid foundation for open innovation. However, there are various challenges stemming from unique culture and the existing business structures. Same as the innovator's dilemma, remarkable success in the past often hinders drastic transformation. Furthermore, social transformation will not be, furthermore, social transformation will not be achieved only by a few innovative and motivated companies. We need to change the mindset and the behavior of majority of industrial players. So we need a certain mechanisms that can make a broader impact. With this in mind, MUFG is working on creating new mechanism, shikumi in Japanese, together with the partners to make meaningful impact to real economy. I will show you two examples. First example is a hands-on open innovation support by facilitating connection between large corporate and startup. MUFG has an extensive network with companies operating large-scale industrial plants, such as oil and gas and chemical companies. Their plants are highly complex, requiring high-level expertise for their maintenance. However, most of them are faced with common challenges, such as the aging of skilled employees and labor shortages. We are trying to address those problems in collaboration with startup named Sensing Robotics, which employs AI and robotics for infrastructure maintenance and inspection. Sensing has a competitive advantage that they can handle the whole process from acquiring plant data, data analysis with AI, to developing customized applications for each client. Furthermore, Sensing places great emphasis on interaction with on-site employees of their client. Sensing attentively addresses clients' quality requirements and accelerates their digital transformation. I believe this sort of grassroots movement is crucial to make change to entire industries. MUFG has been assisting them finding potential clients by leveraging our large client base. Second example of our attempt is more dynamic. I suppose many of the audience have heard of venture client model. This method encourages a company to make an initial purchase of startup product and services at a minimal scale, after clarifying the strategic benefit for the company. We recognize that there are two major barriers in open innovation. One is negotiation on product quality and patent between large corporate and startup, and the other is the discrepancy in the speed of decision-making process. Venture client model is expected to overcome these two barriers. That is why Japanese government has been promoting it by releasing the guideline in April. However, I'm afraid that mere understanding of the method is not enough. We need to certain ecosystem by involving the various functions and companies to promote application of this model in real businesses. So we enter into a partnership agreement with JR East for making Takanawa Gateway City, Japan's newest city, into a testing ground for open innovation using the venture client model. In addition, MUFG is designing a financing scheme for users of the venture client model. We are also discussing with METI as to how we can collaborate to spread this method to all Japan. As such, we are trying to leverage banks' client platform to connect large-scale companies and startups, and create an ecosystem using venture client model as a catalyst. As MUFG serves as the chairman of the Japanese Bankers Association, we may call on the cooperation of a broad range of financial institutions to drive open innovation together. Lastly, MUFG is also determined to engage in co-creation with overseas startups, as you can see in the next part, panel discussion. This concludes my part. Let's move forward together. Thank you very much.
亀本様、ありがとうございました。どうぞご講談ください。Let's give a huge round of applause to Mr. Kamemoto. Next, we will hold a panel discussion titled Pursuit of a Sustainable Society Through Collaboration with Startups. Let me begin by introducing the panelists. Mr. Hironori Kamezawa, Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group, President and Group CEO. Mr. Ladi Delano, MUFG co-founder and co-CEO. First, we would like to invite our moderator, Mr. Nobutake Suzuki, President and CEO of MUFG Innovation Partners, to introduce the discussion topics. Mr. Suzuki, please take the stage.
Hi, I'm Nobutake Suzuki, President and CEO of MUFG Innovation Partners. MUFG Innovation Partners, or MUIP, is a CVC fund for MUFG. And it is my honor to be a moderator for this session. So firstly, let me explain about the relationship between MUFG and MUFG. MUFG is a startup company initially launched their business from the African continent and providing auto loan to ride-hailing drivers for their financial independence. MUFG invested in MUFG in 2022 through its CVC fund, MUFG Innovation Partners. And since then, we have tried various collaboration. So today, I'd like to explore how partnership between large Japanese corporations and global startups can foster open innovation and also make a global impact. So I think we are all set. So please welcome Mr. Kamezawa and Mr. Ladi, please. So okay, so Ladi, so MUFG is a company that embodies the theme of a Sushi event, which means realizing a sustainable society. So could you start by introducing your company?
Sure. Morning, everyone, and thank you so much for this kind opportunity to present to you today. My name is Ladi Delano. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of a company called MUFG. And at MUFG, our vision is to build the world's leading AI-first mobility asset manager, powering the autonomous revolution that's currently taking place in mobility. The business today, we operate the world's largest manned and autonomous ride-hailing fleet. We operate around 20 cities globally and a fleet of about 38,000 cars. Now, the business itself was started to solve a very different problem. The problem we started the business to solve was access to finance for ride-hailing drivers in markets where access to finance was limited or restricted or constrained. And over the last few years, we've now built that business into 3 different products. So we have our flagship product, which is our Drive to Own, which is a revenue-based vehicle financing product. Essentially, we purchase the vehicles, drivers get into the vehicles, they drive on ride-hailing platforms, and based on their performance, we've now generated a new type of credit score for them. We then have our Fleet as a Service business, where we manage taxi businesses and taxi companies, and then we also have our newly formed autonomous business, where we're financing autonomous vehicles on the road. Today, the business has, as stated, about 38,000 vehicles across 20 different cities. We've generated over 2.1 billion kilometers driven. As a business, we've raised over $450 million, and we're backed by a number of different institutional investors, Uber, BlackRock, obviously MUFG, Mubadala, and the list goes on. And finally, we have a number of partnerships with Japanese OEMs, specifically Suzuki and Toyota.
So I think, Ladi, so expanding to maybe 20 cities in 5 years is quite remarkable. So what motivated you to maybe start a business? So was there any social issue behind that?
Yeah, we started the business primarily to focus on providing finance to those who needed finance in order to work. Now, in Africa, where the business was founded in Lagos, Nigeria, there were a number, if not thousands, of individuals who were willing to work They wanted to drive on ride-hailing platforms, but because of the lack of access to finance, they weren't able to purchase or access the vehicles required. And the problem that we saw was if we could figure out how to use alternative data and put that into an ML model that will create a different type of credit score, then we'll be able to provide access to said finance to said ride-hailing drivers. And by doing so, we then also provide more vehicles on ride-hailing platforms, thus creating more supply for them.
Okay, so Kamezawa-san, so why did you MUFG decide to invest in Move? So I think at the time of investing in Move, so still maybe their primary business was in Africa, which is far from MUFG's core market. So what's your view on African market?
Yeah, actually, we have some presence in Africa, but it is very limited presence in Africa. But as you know, Africa has a population is 1.4 billion, and the economy of Africa is growing. Okay. And also, the many people are considered as unbanked or underbanked. So that is a huge social issues in Africa where we can support to do that.
So I see. So why did you choose to invest in Move?
Yeah, Move, as you know, Move provides some auto loans on the Uber drivers, and also had a great platform for supporting to the financial inclusion. But they are challenging for the procuring the vehicles to the people. So I think we have some opportunity to facilitate between the Move and our automakers customers to make some good support from the automakers to Move. That is a motivation for us to invest to the Move.
Okay, I think that makes sense. And so as a bank, maybe I assume that maybe you evaluated the Move's credit assessment technology. So Ladi, so maybe could you share how Move's credit assessment technology is innovative? Yeah,
Pardon me?
Yeah, credit scoring model is,
So I didn't hear the question, sorry.
Yeah, so how Move's credit scoring model is innovative?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the way to just think about our business overall, especially in the Japanese context, is we have found in Japan specifically that there are so many strategic opportunities that we can leverage as we start to grow our business. Now, being in the mobility space in and of itself, we found that in Africa to start with, Japanese vehicles were the best. And they were the best for a number of different reasons, but ultimately that is what the product our customers wanted. So when we started to think about opportunities in Japan, it was how could we collaborate with Japanese conglomerates, Japanese OEMs to help develop, help improve, help extend our business product, our business plan in Africa. I hope I answered the question because I couldn't hear it that well.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So next question is for Kamezawa-san. So how maybe did the MSC proceed with collaboration with the Move after investment?
Yes, how to help the Move. Okay. So we introduced Move to our customer of the automakers, auto manufacturers, and eventually the Suzuki motor resonated the business idea and the business model of the Move, so that they can collaborate with the Move. So that is a great support from the MUFG network to utilize our network to support Move. Yeah. So by the way, so perhaps you are the first person to visit Move.
Yes, actually. So I and also my partner Taka-san, he's our chief investment officer, traveled to South Africa to meet Ladi, and we saw operation of the company and met with the drivers, and we were deeply impressed with the business model and technology, and also its commitment to solving a social issue in Africa. And also, I thought that maybe we could support our Japanese auto companies clients' business in Africa while making a tangible impact in Africa. So Ladi-san, what is the significance of a partnership with Suzuki Motor?
I mean, it's been one of the most impactful partnerships we ever could have made. And it kind of speaks to the 3 C's that you spoke of earlier on. As a portfolio company, as a startup, we have actually experienced that. We've partnered with MUFG in a collaborative way, whereby introductions have been made to respective partners that can help improve our business. Furthermore, we've co-created by virtue of new business opportunities, new business products that ultimately we can launch. And then finally, there's been a big part of contribution by virtue of the capital that you've invested, but also financing that's been provided. Now, specifically with Suzuki, for us, it was impossible for an African startup CEO to meet the senior leadership at Suzuki to discuss a Pan-African transaction. But with your help and your support, that's exactly what happened. I got a fantastic opportunity to go to Hamamatsu and meet with the team there. And it ended up and resulted in a global partnership with Suzuki that has now led to thousands and thousands of vehicles being purchased from Suzuki and put on the road, not just in Africa, but also in India. So today we operate a 100% Suzuki fleet in India. We operate a 100% Suzuki fleet in Nigeria, South Africa, and in Ghana as a result of that partnership.
Noted. So was that your first time to work with Japanese corporations? So is there any challenges or what you're learning from collaboration with the Japanese companies?
Overall, working with Japanese corporations and corporates has been fantastic, although it has been a learning curve. I think first and foremost, one of the lessons we have learned relative to when we work with American partners is speed doesn't actually mean success. One of the things we've learned by working here in Japan is patience is actually a virtue. One must take their time to build the relationships with the respective individuals that you're working with, really take your time to educate the counterpart on your business, on the opportunities, on your strategy. What we've found is that Japan, specifically, the relationships we've built here, business is more relational than transactional. And I think that's a bit of a learning curve. I think the second piece that we've learned is strategic focus. I think sometimes when you go into partnerships or opportunities with other types of financial investors, you don't think about the strategic aspect. You're very focused on just the financial, the capital, or whatever it may be. But here, working with Japanese corporates, we've found that being very laser focused on the strategic value one can create together can actually improve your business.
Okay, great. So Kamezawa-san, from a corporate perspective, what are the key considerations for collaborating with startups?
Yeah, I think the 2 things. The one is a mindset, and the other one is a speed. So as I make some presentation earlier, in that presentation, I told that we are increasing embrace the open innovation of Japanese corporation. MUFG also, in the 5 years, we have accelerated to make our mindset through the cultural transformation. So, but I think the working with the startups has visibly accelerated this evolution among our employees. So this is one. So and also as a partner, we need to be chosen as a partner from the startups. That is very important. To do that, we need to keep our speed to catch up with the speed of the startups. That is also very important for us to that. So I think these mindset and speed is a very important points for Japanese corporations to collaborate with startups. And also I think we invested 2020 we invested to the Grab.
Yes.
That is some kind of a pivotal timing for
I remember
MUFG.
the deal. So, I think Grab is, as leading ride-hailing platform in South Asia. And MUFG invested $700 million in Grab. And when I first heard about the deal, I thought that maybe it would take a quite long time for the bank to make a decision to invest in Grab. But actually, it was so quick, much faster than I thought. Maybe it only took 6 months.
Yeah, we needed to align with the
Yes.
speed of the Grab side. So we speedy decided to invest to that. And also we can leverage our network in the Southeast Asia where we have the many footprints through our partner banks in the Southeast Asia. And also through this collaboration with Grab, our people had grown very much, especially to get some good momentum of the mindset with the collaboration with the startups. That is a great
Okay.
experience for us.
I see. So Kamezawa-san, so since you became the MUFG president, so I think MUFG has emphasized the startup collaboration. So what are the broader social and also industrial shift, driving this change?
Yes, of course, there are many things, but if I raised some topics, the most important change of the world is AI and blockchains. So these are the big important change for us, especially Gen AI is kind of the game changer or disruptor of the world. So financial institution is keep up with these changes to enhance customer services and also develop the new business and optimize our process and operations. So that is very important. And also traditionally in-house approach is some kind of limited to approach to do that. So that we need to open innovation. And the key point is open and to collaborate with many startups
I see.
who has cutting edge technologies and ideas.
Okay. So Ladi-san, question for you. And today, so we have so many startups and also corporations here in audience. And do you have any advice for them to, maybe for startups and corporations who want to work together? Any advice for open innovation?
Sure. I think for startups, firstly, I would strongly recommend partnering with Japanese corporates. It is a longer journey than I suspect some startups or some founders would want to embark upon, considering the speed. But in the long term, the strategic value that such relationships can bring, it goes straight to your bottom line. I mean, you see it on your P&L when you have the level of relationships, especially if they're strategic with Japanese corporates. I would say secondly, again to startups, is by engaging in that process, you will develop a new muscle. And that muscle is a high degree of strategic focus. And it's something you generally do not spend time doing when you're not in this environment. So taking the time out to start thinking about where strategic value can be created through collaboration, that is definitely something that comes through when working in this environment. I would say the third thing, which would be more to corporations, which is that capital is important, but the strategic value that your relationships, your network, your organization can bring to startups is equally as valuable. When we now think about investors, we don't just think about the capital that said investors can invest in the business. We now think about the added value those investors can bring. And one of the things I've learned having dealt with Japanese corporates, Japanese investors, is they have a wealth of additional added value that they can bring to companies. And I think corporations, if you take corporations and investors, if you take that approach, you'll be very successful, I believe, in attracting startups.
Okay, Ladi, additional question about AI. So what's your maybe AI strategy for Move? Yeah.
Sure. AI is an interesting one. About 18 months ago, we started to think about autonomous vehicles and what impact autonomous vehicles would have on our core business. And what we came to learn is when you look at the value chain of autonomous vehicles, you have the self-driving companies that are developing the technology. They don't want to own and operate the vehicle. You have the OEMs who are manufacturing AV-ready vehicles, but they don't want to own and operate the vehicle. And then in the ride-hailing context, you have the Ubers, the Grabs, the Lyfts. They don't want to own the vehicle, but they want the vehicles to operate. So for us, we found a massive space in that value chain for Move. And Move has now gone into that space by virtue of a partnership that we've done with Waymo, where we are now operating autonomous vehicles within our current fleet. Once we'd established that we were going into autonomous vehicles, we realized that autonomous vehicles is physical AI. So all of a sudden, we're now operating physical AI assets. And then we started to think about where else we can incorporate AI within the business. And I think one of the first things we had to do is we had to change our mindset to become an AI-first platform rather than a platform that's enabled by AI. And in that area, we've now found about 6 key line items or 6 key areas within the business that AI has a massive impact. The first is in our fleet operations, being able to use artificial intelligence to establish when and how to operate our fleet the most efficient. Second is driver management, saving costs when you think about customer service and moving more towards agenta and agents. Third is financial services, as we think through things as simple as reconciliation of invoicing and the loan book and using artificial intelligence in that regard. Payments and collection, back office and operations, I think that's really important. One of the things I struggled with was we had to redesign our entire organizational chart and then start thinking about what AI first looks like from an organization perspective when you actually start thinking about being AI first. It's a completely different org structure. So thinking about the back office and operations. And then finally, where I suppose a lot of companies are thinking about AI first, is in the data and how one collects the data, analyzes the data, and starts to implement findings from that data within the business. For us overall, we have found that AI has helped reduce our downtime, improve our default rates, and overall increase productivity across the business.
Okay. So Kamezawa-san, I think MUFG is strengthening its collaboration with startups through its global network. And as for MIP, we invested in more than 50 startups, and about 70% of them are actually overseas companies. And MUFG also has strengthened its collaboration with the startups and through various initiatives such as Ganesha Fund, which is focused on investment in the Indian later stage fintech companies, or Mass Growth Capital, which is the joint venture between MUFG and the Israeli company and providing a venture debt to Asian later stage startups, or strategic investment in digital player like Ascend Money. So what's your thought on a global startup collaboration?
Yeah, but we are now, time is running out.
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. So MUFG is the largest financial institution in Japan with the networks across Asia, Europe, and Americas. So directly supporting people for solving business challenges for our corporate clients in emerging markets like Africa is a real challenge. So as Ladi mentioned, by combining MUFG's financial expertise, capital, and networks with innovation and technology of startups, we can create new synergies. So through these collaborations, we aim to pursue our MUFG's stated purpose of the empowering a brighter future.
I see. Okay. So I think as we come to the end of this session, maybe I'd like to hear from our panelists about final message to our audience. But we don't have much time, so just one word. So from Ladi, any message to our audience?
One word?
One word.
Partner with Japanese corporates. It's worth it in the long run.
Okay, great, thank you. Kamezawa-san.
Okay. What I want to share is that Japanese corporation is now changing. So that we look forward to working with all of you to make a future.
Okay, thank you very much. So give them a round of applause. Thank you.
ご登壇いただきました皆様、ありがとうございました。